Hi, welcome back to the channel. Just posting this video here of some B-roll footage from the M1000R, just because it's quite good footage, and if you're on the lookout for a M1000, then you want to consume everything out there. Nice little country run. Do bear in mind this is my very first sit on it and going out, so if you want the full review, link up there in the top to the proper full review of all my thoughts and everything put together a little bit better than here. But like I say, if you want to consume more content, carry on watching. Thanks.
Okay, let's see what's new in the settings. So we got here assist. So this is obviously your road dynamic race dampening, and if you're going to be one up or with a pillion. So dampening's on road at the moment. I wonder if that will change when we go into race pro modes. So here we are. So here's where you don't have this on the standard, where you can have it's four selected. So you see here where as soon as I enabled race pro 1, it grayed everything out, so you can actually have 4 rider modes. And obviously BMW turned them off for me because they didn't want me having them. Naughty. So we're going to go maximum throttle, engine brake. We'll keep that on race. I'm just setting this up to actually, normally I have this on mine in race, but because this is a bit fruitier, I'm going to flick it to dynamic just because the roads are a little bit greasy. Wheelie control, we're not doing any wheelies today, promise BMW. No, I can't wheelie anyway. ABS, I normally run this on level 2, but that actually looks a little bit different to me, as if it's got a little bit more, because I think this has this does have the mode where you can skip the back end out. So I'm just going to take that up one. It's not really going to matter too much. And now here, this is new, where you can adjust your front dampening, your rear compression, your rear rebound. You can't do this on the standard. I'm going to leave it alone because, to be fair, I don't even know what I'm doing in there. So we're going to come out of that. So we've now got a race pro mode. Okay, lights, these are all looking pretty much the same as what you got on the RR. Shift light 14, yeah. It's a shame you can't have the pit lane limiter when you're actually moving in normal road modes. Okay, that all looks pretty similar. And of course, being the top daddy, you do have the third screen, which is beautiful. I love this screen. It's very cyberpunk. Yeah, it is one of my favourites when I had the RR. But I'm pretty used to this screen, so I'm going to keep it on that. Right, let's go give it a run and see what we think. The first thing I noticed on this bike is that when you tip, it doesn't come back up unless you tell it to. So like, the only way to describe it would be if you're going round a roundabout and you're 50p piece in it. You don't on this bike because it just holds where you put it. Now, I'm not sure if that's the M or if that is the carbon wheels, because it's been a while since I've ridden on something that had carbon wheels, but it certainly makes the handling absolutely sublime. Standout for me is handling straight away. But is it because this is the carbon wheels, or is it because it is the M with the flatter bar? I do not know for sure. And of course, the biggest welcome addition to this bike, wish it was on my bike, so wish it was on my bike, is the ability to have multiple pro race modes. So basically, the way BMW have worked it on here, you can only have 4 modes up at once, but of those 4 modes, you could have 3 of your race pro modes, which are fully customizable, and 1 rain mode, say for example. You can mix and match as you please. And why that is such a welcome addition is because sometimes you want everything off. You want the wheel to lock up at the rear, you want the anti-wheelie all off, and you just don't have that ability on the standard model without pulling over, going into your pro race mode and editing that. The exhaust doesn't sound any different really from the Akropovich on the S1000, and unfortunately that is a disappointing exhaust in comparison to, say for example, the Pro Race can I have on mine. Coming from the S1000 onto the M1000, straight away I'm not gushing over this. Aside from the looks with this competition pack, because this is beautiful. I mean, it's 25 large, so you would expect it to be, and yeah, you know, the people have said why are the wings just bolted on and they're not part of it, but you still walk up to this bike and you think that is a mean, beautiful looking machine. And the thing is, having owned the S1000 and having modded it myself, there is nothing I would change on this. There is literally, I mean, the mirrors maybe, but you know, they work. I've gone through enough mirrors. I mean, if you're jumping to something like this, you probably go with the Rizomo Stealths. But yeah, everything you want is on here. There is no additional modification aside from probably a straight through pipe to get the exhaust a bit more fruity if you wanted the noise. I do find in first gear it's a little bit twitchier. You just got to ride it in second to smooth it out. There's that little whiskey throttle, you know, instant bit of throttle going on there, which the S1000 with the XR engine doesn't have that. Shift cam isn't smoothing that out as much as it did on the RR. I don't know if they've left it in there to just give you a little bit of more bonkersness, but there is no comfort there when you're in a race pro mode. I mean, let's put it in road mode, see if that smooths it out. Yeah, road mode gives you that sort of second. There's definitely less forgiveness in this throttle compared to mine. The brakes, I don't feel a massive difference. These are the uprated M Brembo brakes, and I mean, feel just the same as mine really. Maybe a little bit better, but obviously if you're judging what you're doing, you won't really need them. Now interestingly, I dropped the tooth on mine, which means the gearing of my S should be the same as this M, and it isn't. This M, you can see with that shift cam, it revs and revs and revs. It just goes on and on and on. I'm in third gear there, going through that little section, which by the way is a rubbish section, don't judge me on it, it is bumpy as hell. But even so, I would have been in high end 3, low end 4 back there. 3 was actually too low. I should have been in second if I was going to push on. You can just pull out because I'm a bike? Yeah, of course you will. Don't give me my rein. To be fair, I wasn't being that defensive. It definitely is more stable, as I said. It feels more planted. But yeah, this is you know, much easier to control. You can see here, hands off, just controlling the bike with my core. And this is easier than my S1000. But is it the carbon wheels? Which do you really want in a potholed English road, or is it because of the improved geometry of the M1000 with this straighter bar? But here's where your money's going. On the linear, I mean, here I'm just hovering at 10,000 RPM, and already I can feel it's wanting to pull me back. The linear mid-range between sort of 10 and 12,000 RPM, it's definitely got more of a kick to it than the S1000 for sure. up to the red line of 15. That is spicy. I mean, through that road back there, I was travelling second, third gear. Didn't need to go above it. This now is bringing back memories for me of my R. The power is just linear. It's PlayStation controls. You're riding, you twist that, and there's just no lag. It's just there, boom, if you want it. If you want it more ferocious, drop a gear and you've still got that rev range to get you through. It's too much. I mean, it's what I was missing on my bike. Don't get me wrong, jumping on this, I wanted that extra kick that my bike seems to be lacking, you know, that extra 20-30 horses. It just gives it to you so quickly, so easily. The question is do you want the extra 5 grand to get you in trouble, or do you want to save your pennies and have more of a smile on your face with the stock? I was expecting a kick in the nuts between 12 to 15,000 RPM, that extra part, but there just isn't. It's just linear. There's a lot of power. But if you can be sensible with this, then you can keep your license on roads like this. If you can't, then for all the extra power that this is giving you, the stock M1000R Sport is more than enough. It is nice to be lazy and just know that second gear will give you everything you want. Second gear will take you round town, through town, lose your license. It's a private entrance I can overtake before you get the complaints. Plus you can see all the way up it. Now, where were we? Suspension's a lot more flat, but if I grab the front here, it's very flat. There's not a lot of diving, so the weight is staying pretty much in the middle. That power here, those wings, they actually make a lot of difference. But here's the dilemma of this bike. Say you're in my position. You got a 2021 S1000 Sport. You've done a few mods to it, and it's a nice bike. It's a bit fruity. And you're looking, do I want one of these? Now the jump, my bike probably is worth 12 to 13,000 in today's market. The stock M is 19 and a bit thousand. This competition pack is 24,000. I'd be looking at the stock, not the competition pack. I think all the carbon, although nice, is not really worth the extra money for me. Especially how I ride it and where I ride it, and carbon wheels with the amount of potholes on UK roads at the moment. Yeah, it's not the one for me. So basically, for me and my bike, and for you other watchers out there in the same position, there's a 6 grand jump, and is it worth it? I mean, the answer is yes if you've got it, for sure. Why not? But if you haven't got it, or you don't fancy the finance tweaks, then like I say, I'm not drooling over this. And then the other question would be, if it's 6 grand more and you're entering into the £19,000 mark, would you go with a Ducati Street Fighter V4S? And it's a difficult one. It really is. I mean, I love the Ducati V4S, but I think the clinicalness of this has far more real-world application. And performance-wise now, this is, you know, this is there with it. I mean, for 80%, maybe more, of the riders out there, myself included, these are way more bike than we could ever get our ability to be. BMW have an S1000R base model at £13,000, and you don't want to buy it because it's missing all the bits that make the S1000R so great. It's missing the comfort pack, which is your heated grips, your cruise control. It's missing the lighting system on the main headlamp, the active turn-in. It's just basically missing all the bits that make the S1000 great. So if you are going to buy an S1000, you have to start with the S1000 Sport, and that's going to be £15,000. And from the £15,000 you would then have optional extras. Of course you will, it's BMW. So you know, you'll pay on top if you want the tyre pressure system, you'll pay on top now if you actually want this engine spoiler, as they're calling it. This little bit of plastic here, there is now an extra. So they're all little bits and bobs that, you know, you're going to add on top, but they are minor. The core S1000 is brilliant in itself, and you don't have to do too much to it to get it to something of your liking. So realistically, if that's £15,000, let's say £16,000 gets you a cracking S1000R out the box. Is it worth an extra £3,000 then to jump to the base model M? Now that engine for £3,000 more, yeah, definitely. However, it's not £3,000 more because the base model doesn't come with those rear sets, it doesn't come with the lever guards, so the 19 and a bit thousand is going to quickly become 22 grand. Now if you're at 22 grand, what's a couple of grand more for this bike here? Okay, and here you have my S1000R. Now I gotta say, I love my bike. I've designed it myself, the colour scheme, I've changed a few bits and bobs to make it unique to me. This next to the M1000R, I mean the M, yeah, it's better looking, and the reason would be the additional carbon and the wings. But is it £10,000 better looking? My answer's no. To run the costs on this bike, it's gonna be £15,000 from BMW, but then like I say, you're gonna start to want to add things. So I've got the Pro Race exhaust, I have the M rear sets, I have the M lever, but I don't have the carbon competition. I have the Sport fly screen as opposed to the carbon. But when you start adding on M chain, some crash protection that the M1000 didn't have, tail tidy on mine is Futurist Moto, and these are the forged wheels as opposed to the carbon wheels. But you see here with that Pro Race exhaust, it's got the same sort of patina colour to it as the Cat, so it actually looks a bit more bruiser, I think, on here. But now, having been out and been on the M back to back with this bike, I believe for me, the way I ride with, you know, mainly fast road, the solution really is decat pipe with a tune and maximising that mid-range that the bike here is missing. But when you start to add the math together, really you're not going to be far off the base M1000. It's a real tough one. There is no easy solution here. A lot of people in the comments are probably going to say, yeah, go get a Ducati Street Fighter V4S, but I don't know. I was having this conversation with Gary at Wollaston, and although the Ducatis are special and I like them, I wouldn't want to ride one all year round. If it's raining, if it's cold, I don't want to go sit on a Street Fighter V4S, whereas I will on this bike, I will on the M I've just jumped off, because of its clinicalness, if that's a word, because of the way it makes riding so much easier, and yet it still has all of that top end ferocity that a 200 horsepower bike, or 165 in this case, should have. Oh, 600 yards of a live lane not being used. Welcome to England. And then what happens is all these people here think, oh, you're queue jumping. You're not queue jumping, you're just using a bit of common sense. Yeah, there I want more of the pop 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 that I get from mine. Just let these drivers know I'm here. So thank you once again for watching. I hope the video was useful. Thank you to Wollaston BMW in Northampton, and catch you on the next video.